Hey, I'm back post-surgery. It's actually been 3 days since surgery now, and I wanted to make a video about my first day after surgery and how shockingly easy it was. I definitely was not prepared, even though they told me it would take a whole week for the nerve block to wear off. I was not prepared to feel as good as I did the next day after surgery. And I realized that they tell you when you're young and healthy, you have a much easier surgery experience. But I'm not exactly young. I'm going to be turning 50 in a couple of months. And I'm not exactly the healthiest, even though I eat like amazingly. I do have an autoimmune disorder. And so I am kind of midway between, old and sick and young and healthy, and yet I had a really smooth day after surgery. And so I just wanted to tell you how it went and what to prepare for if you are like me in the position of getting a single or a double mastectomy in the current age with current medical developments and supplies, and especially nerve blocks. Nerve block is key. If you're not getting a nerve block, you will not have an experience like I had, probably. So first I just wanted to describe my day. I had, of course, a lot of fatigue the day of surgery. I got home, I went to bed. I didn't really sleep, but I rested all evening and tried to get as much sleep as I could because I knew I would have to go into the doctor's office and have my bandages checked at 9 a.m. the next morning. So I was pretty eager to get as much rest as possible. I got about 8 hours sleep. And the next morning I got up and was feeling just fine, not much pain at all unless I moved kind of extremely or tried to raise my left arm up really high. So I was able to get dressed easily, went to that appointment. They didn't end up taking my bandages off fully, so I didn't see my scars, and I still haven't seen my scars. But they did look at the bandages to make sure that they weren't leaking or seeping, that there was no redness or anything. And that appointment went really quickly. And so I had 2 full hours after that appointment before the next appointment that I had set, just in case I was feeling well enough to go to acupuncture that day. I definitely was feeling well enough, but I had 2 hours to burn, and my husband was my chauffeur. And so we decided to have breakfast on the way between the town where my plastic surgeon's office was and the town where my acupuncturist is. And that happened to be a really nice town. It had a really nice breakfast place that I love. And so I had a beautiful breakfast. I had already had a pumpkin smoothie before I left the house and some bone broth when I first woke up. So I'd already had quite a bit of food in my stomach and was doing great with it. But I felt like eating some more because I hadn't eaten in 2 days. I fasted for 48 hours around my surgery. So my appetite was great, and I hadn't planned on having a regular kind of restaurant meal for a couple of weeks after surgery, but because we could and because we had time and I felt okay, it just felt like the right thing to do to go ahead and do it. I didn't think it was going to hurt me, and it hasn't. So I had a breakfast of potato cakes with poached eggs on top and a salad and a little bit of ham, a little bit of really thinly sliced ham. And it was delicious after having fasted for 48 hours. And then after that, we still had an hour that we had to spare before my acupuncture. So we actually went to a couple of estate sales, believe it or not. And I walked really slowly. I wasn't very steady on my feet because I was still under the influence of probably a little anesthesia and also the gabapentin that I was taking for nerve pain, which makes you a little bit uncoordinated. So I leaned on my husband quite a bit, especially at the estate sales. But I was just really shocked to be able to do those things. And then acupuncture was amazing. I'm so glad I did it because it really relaxed me for the rest of the day. And after all that exertion, I definitely needed to rest for the rest of the day when I got home. So really surprising how nicely the day went. And I just wanted to offer a few tips of advice for you if you're in the same position, if you have a nerve block post-surgery and you're having a mastectomy. First thing is, don't be afraid of that 9 a.m. appointment. If your doctor said it early and you're not sure you're going to be able to get up and get ready by then, I really think that you will. I even had time to drink 2 meals, one of bone broth and one of a pumpkin smoothie. So there was plenty of time. I had plenty of energy. I wasn't uncomfortable getting dressed in normal clothes. I did wear a nice baggy sweatshirt to cover up my drain tube, which was kind of hanging down by my side because I still had my compression bra on. But the baggy sweatshirt made me comfortable enough to where I didn't feel like it was really obvious that I didn't have a breast on this side. I also had a lot of gauze dressings kind of stuffed into my compression bra, and I still do right now. So you can't even really tell that I don't have a breast on this side. And neither could anyone that looked at me that day. So I was pretty comfortable. I did have my drain tube kind of swinging underneath my sweatshirt. If someone really looked closely at me, they might have seen it and been a little bit grossed out by the color of blood in that drain tube, but I didn't mind. I was actually pretty elated to be out in the land of the living and walking around. My second piece of advice is that, like me, if you are feeling good and you think you might want to, go ahead and make a second appointment for that day, because that is going to be the day that you might feel the best actually over the next week. And it's the day you're not going to feel the bumps when you're riding in a car, and it won't bother you being in a car. So if there's anything else you really want to do post-surgery to heal your body, like IV vitamin C, hyperbaric oxygen, or acupuncture like what I did, I probably, looking back, I would have done all three of those if I had known how well I was feeling. So don't hesitate to get a second appointment, to do whatever you do that makes you feel really good and healed and cared for. Third piece of advice is to look for ways to celebrate how well you're feeling after surgery. Not everyone feels great after surgery, like I said. And so if you are feeling well, then celebrate by eating your favorite food, indulging in something like maybe a little chocolate or something that's really wonderful, so that you can celebrate and feel how healthy your body is, that it can recover from something so major so quickly. That's something that I would prepare in advance if I knew ahead of time what I know now. My fourth piece of advice is that I was kind of surprised, especially for the first few days, how heavy things are. So for example, this is my drinking glass. It's a pretty thick glass, and when it's full of water and ice, it is almost 5 pounds. And so I'm not allowed to lift this glass with this arm, even though I feel capable of doing so, and I only have a little bit of discomfort when I do so. You really just want to kind of pin this arm to the side for the most part when you're not doing your physical therapy exercises. And it is okay to do a few physical therapy exercises. Ask your physical therapist in advance of surgery what you should be doing and should not be doing with this arm, or whichever arm. If you're having a double mastectomy, then both arms. But for me, I have a very strong arm on this side, and I'm still not supposed to lift more than 5 pounds on this side because of the strain that it would put on this side. So it surprised me that, I wanted to pick up my dog. I wanted to pick up things over and over and over that were about 5 pounds in weight. So just be really careful and know that there are going to be a lot of things you're going to need help with. My compression bra has a little hook that looks like this, and it hangs down from a ribbon on the bra. And that's what I had my drain vessel hanging from for the first couple of days after surgery. And it felt a little precarious, so if you're moving around and out and about around town, you just really want to be careful, because you don't want that to get caught in anything. A couple times my dog's paw got caught in the tube, and I thought it was going to come out of me or hurt me. And so that's a little precarious, and that's why I really like this camisole that I have on now. I won't go into this until my next video, but just so you know that the little loop, it's really a great invention. It comes apart and you can snap it back together. But that's all that's holding the vessel tube, that holds all of the drainage liquids that come out of your wound. So it is a little bit swingy and a little bit precarious down here. The trickiest thing was taking a shower. They encourage you to take a shower the first night on the day after surgery, so the first day after surgery night or evening. And we actually had a power outage that night, but thankfully we still had hot water, but not a lot of light. So I had flashlights in here while I was taking my shower, and I asked my husband to hold my drain vessel for me. And then I discovered that I had this little hook. This hook came with my little kit that helped me to suds up before surgery. It was the hook that was supposed to hold my instructions. And so I kept it, and I think they probably meant for me to keep it and use it to hold my drain. So I hung the little tag that's attached to my drain vessel onto this hook, and that really helped me while I took a shower. I felt like I had a lot of mobility because the tube is pretty long. It's actually like almost a yard long. So that helped me to be able to move around in the shower and suds up. The other thing was that the dressings that are covering my wounds are sticky. They're like a foam, a soft, flexible foam that's sticky on one side. And after my first shower, some of the edges started coming off. And so we went ahead and took scissors, and you can see this edge right here. And the edge of it kind of went down under my armpit where there's an incision. And so we just cut off what had come unstuck from my armpit. And so that's something you can do also on that night after your shower. That allowed me to put a little bit more Arnica gel on to prepare for bruising and prevent bruising, because I had more access to a little bit more skin than I did with the bandage covering most of my wounds. The outfit that I've been wearing for pretty much the whole couple of days since surgery has been a super soft outfit that I showed you in one of my last videos. It has been great because it's been easy to put this on over my head, and the shorts are super easy to pull down when I have to go to the bathroom. So that's been a real win for sure for the first day and a half after surgery. The other thing I was going to say is just when you are going out and about around town on that first day, I was very, very careful to wear a mask because we were around a lot of people and didn't want to get a cold or the flu or anything that could turn into pneumonia, because I am in such a fragile state, with my body really focusing all of its attention on healing my wounds. So even though I was really thrilled to be able to go a few places and be in public on that day and not be too self-conscious, I was self-conscious because I was one of the few people around wearing a mask, and definitely feel very strongly that that was the right decision. So that would be my last tip for the day, for your day after surgery. And I hope that your day after surgery is as lovely as mine was. I guess part of it was that I didn't have to see the scars. I thought that would be pretty devastating. And that moment hasn't arrived yet for me. So if you do have to see your scars on the day after surgery, I guess I would say just prepare and have lots of emotional support around you, and be prepared for the rest of that day to be pretty taxing and emotional, and just a tired day for sure. But find the ways to celebrate the little things, and if you feel well, that's something to celebrate. And I hope you get to celebrate that too. I'll see you in my next video, which is about the time between the first day after surgery and now, 3 days after surgery. See you then.